So we are now live, Facebook Live. So this is our work session that is the precursor to our first board meeting in April, which is going to be on April the 5th. So I will call this meeting to order. It is not required that we have a quorum, but oddly enough, we do this time, which is nice. We have a presentation before this. Brandon Doherty and David DeQuilla are going to give us an update on Cornerstone Park and on the programs for the park and recreation for the summer. I think we have a handout, and I believe that, yes, it's up on the screen. So they have a PowerPoint that I guess Joel is probably going to control, or maybe not. Okay, well, Brandon, you've got your own control. You've got your own control. So, Mr. Doherty, the floor is yours.
All right, welcome. Thank you for having us today. What we're going to talk about is Parks and Rec programming, sponsorship. We're going to discuss some of the budget stuff, Cornerstone Park, and then some of the projects that we currently have going on here in Starkville. Youth programming, great news is we have some record numbers in softball and baseball signups. We have over 1,000 kids participating, which is about 250 more than we've ever had, which is about 25 teams. And so as we have these big numbers, we're also feeling the pressure of the big numbers a little bit of organization, field access, and things like that. So really want to say thank you to everybody who's supported Parks and Rec and getting this out, because this is pretty astounding. We have adult basketball going on, and then we have ongoing registration. So we're starting to move pretty quickly.
Is the adult softball, is that a mixed league, or is that a?
We have two different leagues. We have kind of a competitive league, and then we have a co-ed league.
Okay. So Alderman Vaughn, are you playing on?
I was going to ask, are you trying
Are
to
you
form
playing
a
on the
team?
softball?
No, I'm
No?
not playing any softball.
Alderman Carver, you gonna play on some softball? Awesome. Okay,
Some
cool.
grandkids playing baseball.
We are getting more active in the community, so we have a lot of community events that we're starting to participate in and hold. So we're part of the Starkville Stride, which is the partnership with the CBB. We've also gone to a Women's Expo to try to promote our programs, give our literature out, try to encourage people to use our services, and we have the Easter egg hunt coming up on April 11th. And you can see that we have some other things going on. As we move through the year, we just keep adding to the calendar, but we have a lot of great things that we're providing to the community that hasn't been provided in the last couple of years. So as we move through this, it's going to be a pretty great year with Parks and Recreation.
What's the Women's Expo?
So what that was is that we came in there and we provided literature and services and things that we can provide to them. I believe it was in a school. And so that was our way of reaching back to the community to tell them what we're doing.
Okay. And
It's the first time we've done that.
okay. And the Easter egg hunt, what are all of the activities?
So we're going to be doing the Easter egg hunt. Starts at 5. We have different age groups. We're going to be on the ball field. We're going to set it up, and then we have some face painting. We're going to have like some photo booth stuff, and depending on the weather, we may have some food and some kind of snack and treats.
Okay. Is it going to be? It's going to be at the Sportsplex and not at McKee, right? It's going to be at the Sportsplex.
So we'll be at the Sportsplex,
Okay.
or at the lower softball fields.
Okay. And food trucks and that kind of thing? Or-
Depending on the weather, we're going to have some type of snack and treats.
Okay.
We try to do the concessions ourselves, but the concessions will be food. So.
Okay.
So great news with Parks and Rec. The community has been outstanding with supporting our programs. Here you can see a list of the different things that we've been working on. So far year to date, we've generated $20,000 to offset our cost in Parks and Recreation with sponsorship packages. These are things like team sponsors, field sponsors, a number of different things that we're doing. We have some critical contracts that came through, which is Clark Beverage, which is our primary beverage sponsor, which is fantastic. They are very generous. And as we move through the rest of the season, we do think that we're going to get more sponsorship just because of the growing attention that we have with teams and people wanting to sponsor teams. It's been outstanding with our community of how much support they've had for our programs. And so just to give you a look, here's an example of all the different types of organizations that have sponsored the Parks and Rec specific stuff. And we have different levels. So we have the platinum, which you can see the logo, we have silver, and we have bronze. So that's just the start of what we've accomplished to this point. And as always, we're looking for more people to help sponsor different things as we move forward. We have groups that have committed to doing our scholarship program, so we're hoping in October we'll get the scholarship program moving forward, which will be low-income families having an opportunity to have more kids participate in our programs. So we've had some people commit to that, so we're getting that established for the 1st of October, and some other nuances with programs and camps and clinics.
Are there levels of that program?
The scholarship
Scholarship program,
right
yeah.
now, the scholarship program is just, you donate it, it's a donation into the scholarship piece of it, then we hold it, and then based on what areas or activities those individuals will use it, and so if people can renew that, just like, hey, put more money into it, or it can be a
Okay.
one-time shot, so.
Okay.
We don't really have it at this level, where it's a certain level, it's more about what the generosity is of those individuals.
Okay. Do we offer like an annual contribution opportunity, as in it just renews sort of thing, or annual giving opportunity, or
Yeah, so
monthly
sponsor-
giving opportunity?
Yeah, so this sponsorship is kind of that way. With the scholarship fund itself, we're not there yet, but we
Okay.
are working on getting to exactly that. It's
Okay.
something that we could renew every month or every quarter. The sponsorship is new to us, so we're
Okay.
just working through those details.
Okay.
We have people, it's moving faster than we're able to keep up right now, so we're just trying to hang on. So budgetary, this is the budget numbers. Basically, this is all the COGS, so the cost of goods. Standard is 35%. 35% is kind of the industry standard that we're trying to achieve, and we're at 22%, which means we're spending 22 cents on the dollar to make some of that revenue. That revenue then goes back into our programs and offsets our costs. So we're ahead of the game when it comes to the percentage. We do still have some things coming up. As you can see, probably the bottom line isn't as strong as we anticipated, but part of that is through our transition, and we still have a lot of stuff in the next couple months. Now, we do have some deferred revenue that will be coming through in April and May, which will help these numbers, but we continue to grow every month.
Deferred from what?
Sponsored, like in the very first line, the team memberships, or I'm sorry, the programming numbers, that revenue is not going to hit this until next month because of the start of the season.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can I jump in and say, when we're looking at this, when we're talking about parks and recs, the city, I'm not aware of any parks and rec program that is fully self-sustaining. So there's always a subsidization, if you will, from the general fund or other revenue sources for parks and rec. Cornerstone, when we get to the point of operating Cornerstone, will have a much higher cost recovery than Parks and Rec will, and so it will require hopefully less subsidization.
Yes.
So, and contribute back through sales taxes and other ways.
So
Threefold.
that's just through the funding mechanism, I mean, is that why it's more sustainable than Parks and Rec?
The types of activities, the tournaments, those kind of things where there's more revenue coming in on the front end. The concession levels are higher, all that sort of thing.
That's what we look for.
These are our fixed expenses, so you can see our fixed expense level is pretty low at this point. We have not executed the amount of money that we normally would at this point in the year, and primarily because we had a slow November and December, trying to get established and things like that. We staffed up in January. As you know, those months are a bit slower with expenses, and as we move into the next quarter or so, we're gonna have a lot more as we get outside, with fertilizer, field ground maintenance, building construction. People are starting to move, so you're gonna see we're gonna see it spiking a bit over the next 3 months. But I can assure you, we will not be exceeding anything that we've been already predicted for.
Apparently Roundup has tripled in price,
Oh, everything is tripled in price.
so weed killer has even gone up.
Yes. And what we're finding is even if we order it,
There's
we
no
don't know
chip
when it gets
shortage.
here. So we were told some of our food and beverage stuff would be here in 8 weeks. It showed up in 3 days. And then we ordered some other stuff that said that was gonna be here in a week, and we're still waiting 2 months for it. So it's really hit or miss, and it's unfortunate because we depend on that to help do the things we're doing, and we're just trying to gap it as much as we can.
And appliances, for Cornerstone as an example, appliances are hard to come by.
Yeah, we ordered freezers that we were told that were gonna be 8 to 10 weeks, and they just showed up 4 days later. And no notice, no nothing, they just showed up.
No.
And we're like, we're not quite ready for it, so put them in all.
Storage.
Put them in all.
Yeah.
We'll take it. So we're gonna kind of transition into Cornerstone a bit, so I'm gonna let David start.
My name's David DeQuilla. I am with DD Consulting and part of the design team for Cornerstone. I know, see a lot of faces I know, and I see some faces I don't. So I've been in and around Starkville now since September of 2019. Actually, when I started, Mr. Saunders Ramsey was with Neil Schaefer, and we were working on the phase one of this project, which was Clarity Grove. So just in order to kind of tell you where we're at now and where we think we're going to be, I think we need to back up just a little bit and talk about how we got to here. So back in 2019, Neil Schaefer was doing the clearing and grubbing plan, the engineering plan to get the site prepped. That contract actually hit the street April 1, which incidentally was the day that I sat in for y'all as an interim director, and on April the 3rd, we closed all the parks and pretty much the whole country shut down for a while. So we did clearing and grubbing practically a year. They finished up in March of 2021. In January of 2021, we had some of our construction contracts in place. The way we did this project was phase one was cleared and grubbing. Phase two was our building facilities. Phase three is our finished work, concrete, fencing, batting cages, that type of work. And we also had two other separate contracts. One was for our fielding and one was for our lighting systems. So in January of last year, January of 2021, we had lights materials that was dropped. We had a fielding contractor under place, and we had our building contractor in place. None of those guys, even though they were under contract in January, could start work until almost March of last year. My first report that I did back to the city, where we were actually doing work on site, was right around the first, second week of March. And all of that was due to COVID delays and weather delays. We have had more bad weather. I think folks who are engineers in this room can probably attest to this as well. From a construction standpoint, we've seen more bad weather than I've seen on any project that I've worked on in the last 20 years, in the span of these last two. I was learning the numbers the other day. Our contractor, not saying we're going to give them all the days, but they've requested close to 115 days over the last 10 months. So, I mean, and kind of what we see here, and we were talking about this a little earlier, most of my construction work that I've done has been on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. We get rain for 2 days, sand-based soils, cleans up pretty quick, usually in a day, day and a half, you're back to work. It's not that big a delay. In Starkville, I don't even know what y'all call it. Everybody's it does not drain. The soils we are dealing with in this site do not drain as well as soils that I've been around before. One quick off story. So when we were doing our outfield, we had to send in a soil sample to Tifton, Bermuda, so they could take it, do an analysis, and tell us what our soil content needed to be to grow grass. We got the report back, and we knew it was going to be bad, and it was bad, and we knew we had to do some mixing. I got a phone call 2 days after we got the report, and the young lady said, "Mr. DeQuilla, we just had to call you. You won." I said, "What did we win?" They said, "Y'all have the worst soils ever." And I said, "What do you mean ever?" They said, "We've done this for 20 years, and nobody has ever given us a soil sample that was as bad as what y'all gave us." So it's not an over-exaggeration as to what the contractors are dealing with on the conditions at the site. So where we're at right now, y'all excuse me, I'm fighting a little bit of allergy stuff this morning. So as you drive into the complex, for those of you who haven't been out there, we have 3 different quads, 4 fields per quad. We have a central mezzanine plaza area, and we have a T-ball area, warm-up area that's been, did I touch it or did you do that?
I don't know.
A T-ball area. So from a construction standpoint, I'm gonna look at my phone so I get my percentages right. So lighting, we have 44 light fixtures. 93% of our lighting is done. All the light poles and fixtures are up. On 44 of those poles, all the conduit's been run back to the main building for being able to turn them on and off. And all the wire has been pulled except for 4 poles. So in my discussions with the electrical contractor over the last 2 weeks, they need a couple good days of weather. They're gonna pull the wire back to the building. We are now working with Fort County Brandon, through SFM, and Mayor, they're gonna be coming to you here pretty soon to button up the contract for how we're gonna handle it from here on out. But basically, 4 counties in the process of putting their meter boxes on the building and getting us power. When they get us power, we pull those last 4 poles in. It'll be about a 3-day process for us to tie all those poles together, and we will start light testing. So we're about, if I had to speculate, probably 30 days before we do some light tests out there.
So this is the Musco lighting, it's remote controlled, so all of that kind of
Correct.
testing.
Correct. And so this is the LED lighting. This will be, from an industry standpoint, this is the top of the line industry standard. If you're doing a lighting system, this is the lighting system that you want. It's got glare and spill reduction. For those of you who aren't familiar, you don't get a lot of excess light. You don't get a lot of light going to places you don't want it. Our fields are 50-foot candles in the infield and 30 in the outfield, which is normal recreation is 30-20. And so we're 1 step above normal rec, which allows us to put y'all into a really good position on your tournament venue type stuff. So they're at 93%. Our sports contractor, Unlimited, is doing our fields. They're the same company that did your fields over at the Sportsplex, your new soccer field over there. Our infields are synthetic turf. Our outfields are natural grass. The outfields will be the same grass that's used at Duty Noble. It's called Latitude. We did that as a little bit of a marketing niche so when kids come in to play, they're playing on the same playing surface that the Mississippi State Bulldogs are playing on. The synthetic turf people have been in town for about 5 weeks. We are halfway through the process. They, as of last night, they have 7 fields with synthetic turf on them. And the way they break down is this quad is softball, so it has this look, which is a skinned infield look. This quad and this quad will be baseball. I don't have a picture of those. In this slide presentation, those are the fields that they're working on this week. About mid-May, we should be to the point where the synthetic turf fields are ready to go. The grass in the outfield was sprigged in the fall of last year. We'll have some more grow in the spring of this year. We're getting ready in conjunction with SFM to do a vert cut, a pesticide control, a weed control, and a fertilization. So we'll start pumping these fields over the course of the next 2 months, pretty heavy. And I would say by June, July, we should be in pretty good shape with the fields. From our contractor standpoint, anything that doesn't grow in will come back in inside or make the appropriate repair. Right. So that's at 72%. The buildings, the building you see there is our main pavilion building. We have restroom facilities in each quad. You can kind of see that picture in the background there. And we have a maintenance building. All of our buildings are up. All of our buildings are roofed in. We are currently working in the mechanical rooms to get the power on. The restrooms, they started doing tiling in the bathrooms. We finished quad A for us. This is quad A. And they're moving up into quad B right now. We will be having a meeting with all of those contractors for building related stuff within the next 2 weeks. And we're gonna get a pretty good feel for when we're looking. I think we're about 45, 60 days for those guys. Because the maintenance building, for example, they're putting the lights in, putting in the drop ceilings, they have to paint it, and that building will be done, because it's a white box building. And then SFM will come in and put in the furniture and do what they need to do. Excuse me. So we're about 70% there. So where we're, now, I don't want to use the word behind, but where we're kind of sitting right now is the flat work. So on this quad here, we have all of our backstop poles up. All of our batting cage poles are up. They're doing the same here right now. Been working on it this week and last week. They're scheduled to start putting in fencing on April the 11th, which will start the fencing process for the entire complex. We have not started pouring concrete yet around the quads or in the main pavilion. They are meeting right now with Neil Schaefer and our contractor T&M Steel on going over elevations, slopes, grades, make sure everything's where we want it. They're discussing whether or not we might need to do some bonding agents in some certain areas because of the soil conditions. We'll wait for that report to come back. I don't have a start date on concrete, but I'm hoping it's gonna be within about the next 30 days. So when we say we're at 25%, the majority of that package is concrete, your parking lot asphalt, your walking track asphalt. So when that work starts going, it's gonna go pretty big and hopefully pretty quick. And that kind of leads us to where, I know the question is, when will we be ready? By contract, phase 3 was scheduled to be done for July 1. Where we stand right now and what we've told SFM and what I would tell y'all is we're pushing every contractor to be done by July 1. And at this point, it'll just be the one left, T&M Steel on phase 3. My recommendation is we're gonna shoot for July 1. I wouldn't schedule an event out there till after Labor Day. Because we are still far enough out that if we have any more COVID issues, we've been fortunate, most of our materials are on the site. We've talked with Brandon. I know he's got some August events, and those events as a contingency can be done at the Sportsplex. And if we're done, we're done, and that'd be great. It's not in the contractor's best interest, y'all's best interest, SFM's best interest, or the design team's best interest for them to be out there any longer than they have to be. But I'm trying to be realistic because between COVID, shipping delays, and weather, this project has been a very difficult project to get momentum. I see 3 engineers in the room, there may be more. The engineers and architects I'm talking to all over the state, there's not a project I'm aware of in the state of Mississippi that's on time, or particularly for an outdoor project. So, again, our goal is July 1. If I was a betting person, I would not think we would make July 1, but I think we'll be midsummer at some point. There's a lot of finish work and detail work, and the sooner we can start putting concrete down, I think we'll have a better feel for where that projection is going to be. I was kind of hoping we would have started concrete in March, but it's just been too late this month.
How far out, we're gonna have to plan for this ribbon cutting grand opening. We're gonna have to have time to plan for it. So how far away from a date would you need to be to feel comfortable that we can plan?
I think we're gonna have a meeting on April the 14th with all of our contractors, and I'm gonna get a pretty good feel for how, and that's where we'll be talking to our exit strategy, inspections, going through all the things we gotta do, because I'll have some contractors getting off site at that time. Once I have just T&M Steel, and once we act, and hopefully, like I said, by then we'll know when we're gonna start concrete and have a feel for how much concrete we can put down in a day. And then, quite honestly, it's just gonna be a matter of Mother Nature. If we could get rain for 3 days and it not rain for 3 weeks, that would be fine. What we're getting is 2 days of rain or a day of rain, 2 days kind of starts drying out, and then we're getting 2 more days of rain. We need a good stretch, and I'll be honest with you, since September 19th, I could probably count on one hand the amount of times we've had a 2-week stretch without rain. I mean, it's been that much, and y'all might not feel like it's been that much rain, but when you're logging it and keeping up with it, it's been that much rain. So I would say, let us have that meeting in April, and I'll come back to you, and we can take a look. I don't think I would not plan it for the 4th of July. I know we originally were shooting for that. But, and then I think we talked about that first week in August. That still may be potential. I've had people who are not part of this project who do what I do with other projects. I've had other engineers from out of town look at this project. And when people have come to look at it, I've asked them, I'm like, you just had to guess estimate. They said, oh, I'm thinking you're midsummer. So midsummer to me is mid-July. And that's kind of, I think that's fairly realistic, but I also want to caveat that with, we really need some help with Mother Nature.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So
All
for the
right,
grand opening piece, we're also making sure that the people that we're coordinating the plan is mobile, so we can move it ahead, adjust it as needed, with the exception of the hard date for those special invites and those types of special touches that we want to do with reaching out to the members.
Well, and then we have that sculpture piece too. that we
yes,
gotta get
well,
done,
and, yeah, that one's pretty critical, because he's
Right.
very serious about
being a week ahead of time.
Yeah, but also not having a reveal, he's gonna wait until the last minute to put it in.
We understand.
So,
And we, believe me, that's been part of our discussions that we have about every 2 or 3 weeks. 'Cause
Okay.
I would love to be able to walk in this room and tell you all the dates, but I just feel like I'd be lying to you if I did, or just telling you something that makes you feel good.
but as soon as you think you have some clarity.
I think we can.
Okay.
And again, the fencing is gonna start on April the 1st. I think it'd be good to see how quickly all of that's going up as well. All of our other contractors, the building contractors, the fencing, the building contractors, the turf, and the lighting, I anticipate by June, we'll have all of those folks off-site.
Okay, all right.
We'll be dealing with one contractor and just sprint to the end.
Okay.
But I want to reiterate though too, I was here for the 4th of July weekend. We had contractors working the day before. I've been here on Saturdays and Sundays. We've had contractors working weekend. It's not a lack of effort on our contractors' part, and I really want to reiterate that. And y'all dealt with Tommy, your staff dealt with Tommy Shook on the sports. Those guys, I mean, there were days where I'm on the coast, and they're calling me going, hey, we're gonna go ahead and work today, and it's a Saturday morning. So they work. I mean, none of these crews are afraid to work. It's just a matter of giving them the opportunity and the conditions to be out there to do it safely.
Okay, thank you. All right, anybody have any questions of David? Because Brandon's got a little bit more to do, but any questions? Alderman Carver?
Program management standpoint, I know we've talked about this before, but like fast forward to next spring, will the majority, will rec ball be played at the Cornerstone at all, or you hope most, like 90% of the games will be there and the overflow will be?
100%.
So that's the question I was asked the other day for the number. I know we've had a big turnout this year.
Yeah.
That's enough, the 12 fields are enough to field the number of teams we have registered?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I know we got a lot, we're heavily involved in baseball here. We've got a lot of excited people, so.
Well, one of the things, and I talk about the soil conditions, but with your drainage system that has been put into this, your infields are gonna perk, almost like a parking lot, because it's synthetic turf. Our outfields are designed to perk somewhere between 8 to 12 inches an hour. So we're, on the fields themselves, we're not having issues holding water. It's areas outside the fields that we're having the condition. So some of the things that y'all seen, and when I sat as interim, I saw, there were times that our fields, you get a rain on one day, you might be another day, you're not gonna have that issue here. If it rains here at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, and it's done by 1, you're gonna play that night. You're not gonna have to postpone games.
We're spending about 10 to 12 hours a day right now in manpower hours just to get the field ready for practice. Where this will probably be a 2 to 3 hour. So it's gonna help us a lot once we get out here to reduce that.
I would assume as long as you catch your outfield grass cut the day before the storm and
Absolutely.
sit it.
And the way it's set up and drains so it won't puddle like it does here, so we don't have to do all that extra stuff.
Anyone else? Any questions before we let David go? Okay, thank you, David. Nice to see you.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate it.
And I apologize for that one a little long.
No, it's
Felt like
okay.
I didn't know where we were at.
Okay.
So outside of the ballpark, we received this type of graphic design from Four Seasons to have a beautiful entryway coming in off Highway 25. And to be honest, the pictures here don't really show the justice of what it looked like. But everything from, having baseball laces in the middle, all the way into the park, to the baseball, so people coming in and out of Highway 25 will have this great experience of not only the landscape and our sign, but directional into the park. It's just that first wow factor for everybody. And when I saw this yesterday, I have to admit, I can't think of any place that would have something like this. So if you're talking about coming to the next level and leaving with a memory, this is gonna start, because it's the first experience off that highway. So what we're looking for is some people who wanna help fund this a little bit with sponsorship and advertisement. So when you saw the list of people that were in here, Four Seasons is willing to work with us to do some things, but we also would like to get some help from other members of our community as we grow. So this is absolutely amazing.
If you notice, the seams and stuff with the baseball in the center to direct into the park, it's pretty
Symmetrical
cool.
bricklaying press. Oops. You got the pressed brick across here on both sides with the sign, and it's just such a great. You got the raised baseball into the park with the matching pressed brick, some more landscaping, especially with landscaping coming out, so they still have a good experience when they leave, and they just want to see trees. You know, I can't think of another place that has that, so that's truly next level landscaping. So,
Yeah, Cliff Crowley did it, and it's pretty special. He
and
did a
he's-
great
he's-
job.
And he said he's willing to come to the plate to help with a lot of this.
Yeah.
There's just a bit of a gap, we gotta try to find something.
And we just wanted to give you a kind of a visual of what it could be, so, anyway.
So pre-opening budget, the CSP pre-opening budget, you can see we've only executed about 8% of that, and a large part of that is just because it's marketing and things like that. We will see a lot more going on as we get further down the road with place signage and marketing materials and news and TV, and there's some other things that are going on, but we don't expect to exceed this budget by any means. We'll be under this budget, and I think we're gonna have a really good marketing plan and stuff. And we already have one, but you'll start seeing more visual things about, hey, come out here, be part of this, once we start getting some dates firmed up, when do you think it might be open? Right now, sponsorship-wise, you can see here, we have some fields that are sold. We have some fields that are in negotiation. We have different types of sponsorship with signage and things like that. So we are moving forward. We're always looking for people who want to invest into Starkville and Sportsplex or Cornerstone, so please help us if you're interested. A lot of people are asking what's going on. So what we've been doing is collecting information. On the left side is our sports tourism events that we have going on, and that is actually not up to date as of this morning. We actually have some more. So people are reaching out to us to do a number of different things. And as you can see, there are some duplicate dates because organizations are trying to fight for the same weekend. And we have to kind of figure out what that looks like. We also need to work around the football schedules to make sure that we're not maxing out everything and having people have a bad experience in the home football games. So some dates are not going to be available for people, but this is a pretty robust list for this year for 2022. On the 2023, you'll see a lot of those dates will transfer over because those same organizations want to get into long-term deals so they can create some consistency. And they want to be able to come here and grow. So if they come in this year with 30, 40, 50 teams, next year's at 60, 70, 80 teams. And we are putting stipulations that they gotta grow, right? It's not a question of, hey, we had a bad year. No, this is an economic impact driver that helps fund so many different things. It's a business. We need to work it a bit like a business by saying there's an expectation that you have to do. And we're putting those things in those contracts, that with the expectation we will be doing these things. And so as we're trying to fill out the community and the different things that are going on, it's a process. And as every process, there's some bumps that we're gonna hit, but I don't see anything major ahead of us. It's gonna be pretty good. It looks pretty good.
And these are already scheduled for 2022, or
Yeah.
schedule contingent, obviously, on the date of the
They're
field?
scheduled no matter what. We told them if it's not open, we're still hosting it.
Gotcha,
And we were
okay.
okay with it, so this year we've been a little bit flexible with some fees and stuff, understanding we're not quite sure where we are, but we are hardlining it for next year to understand that this is what they got to do.
Awesome.
And you're dealing with multiple tournament groups there?
Yes, we are. So we have Perfect Game, Fast Pitch, we work with AAU, which has actually been a bit more with Sportsplex type stuff. US Fast Pitch, National Fast Pitch Association. There's a lot of groups.
And talk about the perfect game thing, because that's, I mean, there may
Oh,
be.
yeah, so on the anticipated timeframe for the grand opening, Mississippi Showcase is going to be held by Perfect Game. They're inviting all the top athletes to the state to come to Mississippi here to pick a all-star team to go represent our state in Atlanta. So they're doing the tryout essentially here, the showcase here. They're going to select the team from our location, and then later in the fall, they're all going to go to Atlanta and compete for the state of Mississippi, but it's all going to originate out of here. So we're really hoping that Cornerstone is open, so that can be such a great experience right off the bat. And we'll have some premier exposure, especially with our MSU and all the coaches bringing in, checking them out. It's great at so many levels.
Kind of like a football combine, right?
Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
They measure speed, arm strength, batting ability, technique. They They monitor pitcher speeds and different types of pitches, they take photos, they put it on their website, they sell apparel, they'll have food trucks, or they'll have concessions. So it's gonna be a pretty big deal.
Cool.
What age group they gonna be?
I believe it's gonna be like 7 through 12. I can get you the exact. It's pretty awesome.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna go a little bit quicker through some of these things, because we're kind of
Yes.
using time. Operational updates, just want to recap some of the things that we've been doing through the year and proposals. So park hours 6 to 9. We are gonna have designated food truck locations, so food trucks can have a designated location as long as they're compliant with all the city regulations and requirements. We're also gonna be cracking down on scooters, ATV, and people parking on grass. So we have a real problem with people who wanna park on the lawn. And so we're gonna start cracking down on that. The Bird scooters have been all over the parks, and so we're trying to work with Bird to get them collected off to the side so they're a little bit better, but it's gonna be a process because we just have to work through it. Splash Pad, we're gonna be opening by May 1st or earlier, no later than May 1st, and it'll be open 7 days a week, sun up, sun down. Dog Park, we close the second and fourth Tuesday of the month so we can cut and clean. We do this because we just don't want people in there with their animals as we're trying to take care of stuff so we don't get bit.
Or scared
Or
of
chased,
dogs.
yeah.
The pool will open, May 28th, will be open again, same rates as last year. Hours right now are 12 to 6. We have different camps and organizations who are looking to use our pool in the morning. Depending on how it is, they're gonna bulk contract it through the season, so we'll have some extra revenue from that. We're also opening up a concession stand, so we will be not allowing people to bring in their food and beverage. They're gonna have to buy it from our concession stand. So that's gonna be a bit of a change from last year to this year.
I wonder when it was they quit doing concessions. I grew up eating frozen Snickers bars there.
Yeah.
So at some point in time, we quit doing concessions, but,
I think it's gonna be very lucrative.
yeah, well, certainly I spent a lot of my folks' money anyway.
Travis Softball Center, so we're proposing, we're not finalizing it yet, but we're proposing a 7 to 8:30 time. I did a study from January through basically March to determine usage. The last hour of every night, we're getting very minimal amount of usage. They go home about 8:30, 8:40 every night. So from January through March, we had a total of 25 people who were using our facility during that time. So ideally, what we'd like to do is reduce that 30 minutes, save that labor, apply to a Saturday so we could open 8 to 12, and have Saturday hours in the morning to allow people to use the center in the morning. So we're working through to see if that's acceptable by the city, and if it is, we're gonna try to get all that stuff implemented as soon as possible. And then also by October 1st, we're gonna be requiring people to scan in and out of the facility. There's no cost, but we need liability forms and waivers online for general usage. And so that's just part of the process that we will have to educate people and work through. We don't see it, we see it as it's gonna be concerning, but it also is a security piece. So now we know who's in our center. We're able to control a bit of the element at the door instead of not knowing who's in our gym and whether or not they should be there or not.
This is just like facial recognition, attempt to scan, those type of devices. Definitely
Yeah,
take
so
a picture and go.
Yeah, well, we'll have actually a little file card, and once they come in, they register, we'll take their picture, and then as they walk, we just hit the scan and they walk. And if they're registered in our system, it will bing. If it's not, it'll give you an E, and then we'll ask them to help register, and then we have a station set up so we can work through that process and give them that. And that will help us manage the minors that are in our facility without parental guidance.
I think it's extremely smart.
One big thing with SFM that we're gonna need to do this year is not allow minors to participate in adult athletics. Now, it really only happens during the summer, but based on liability concerns, we're not gonna be able to allow minors to play with adults. So. Field usage, we're reviewing the usage and the maintenance costs to determine how we're going to manage that moving forward. Everything from baseball fields, at the sportsplex, the turf field, and all of those. Lastly, we have some projects. You can see by the pictures, we have a drainage project. So over the last 3 weeks, we have 4 more drainage holes that look just like this one. We have the bridge project that is coming along very well. It's going to be fantastic. We have the turf field that is finished, and we also have the parking lot on the verge of being finished. The other one is the bathroom and renovation project. So I put some before and after photos up here so you can see what we've done and a little bit of the process. We're still waiting for some things to come in, obviously supplies, but we're trying to do the best we can with what we got to provide those services. And like we were talking earlier, I think the bathrooms will be fully open this weekend. And then the concession stands are open, but it's just kind of minimal of what we can do based on what we currently have.
These are not air conditioned, so are we putting fans? Do we have fans in them now?
We have stuff in there now, but we do have an HVAC guy coming in.
Okay.
Yep. So we're getting them all upgraded for that kind of stuff, so they
Okay.
their temperature regulated. So you can see that we've made some pretty good progress.
Okay.
And that's really all I have at this time. There's a lot
Okay.
more I can talk about, and I'm sure you'll better this.
Well, anybody have any questions of Brandon while we've got him?
Appreciate both of you guys, that was a really comprehensive, good report.
Okay.
We get asked a lot of questions, so this will be helpful for us.
Absolutely, and anything we can do to make our park better and everything better and provide better information is our best. So we appreciate you guys.
And you're getting good feedback from folks?
Yeah, so we're getting good feedback that people are starting to have a higher level of expectation. So as we get higher level of expectation, we have more critical eyes on things, which just makes us even better. So in general, we have had some really good responses. We spent a lot of time on doing things, parks have been clean, so we're not getting a lot of negative feedback. What we're getting is just kind of those ones or twosies. And sometimes we miss a couple things, so it helps us identify opportunities.
Okay.
But overall, it's been good.
All right.
Mayor, we can
Yes.
schedule some visits, like if anybody from the board would like to go out and take a look over the next couple months as weather
Okay.
settles out.
That'd be great. I think maybe we all do a board tour. I think that'd be fun. Maybe we have our work session on a Friday and do a board tour out there.
Field trip.
Field trip, there you go.
Field trip.
Literally and figuratively.
Who's going to chaperone you?
All right, thank you, Brandon.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Okay, guys, we can roll into our agenda. So we have 3 sets of minutes, and Mr. Latimer, I believe, has given his blessing to 3 sets of minutes. Is that correct?
They are ready.
Okay, do we want to put those on consent? Okay, let's do consent for those 3 items. I don't have anything in particular right now from a mayor's comment standpoint, but I'll come up with something maybe. Anybody have anything they want to have listed on here for highlighting? No? Okay. Citizens' comments? Yes, sir.
I may point out, I don't know if you all saw it, but Glow, we talked about them a lot.
Yes.
And they were featured in the New York Times.
Read that article.
Front
Not just-
page,
I was gonna say front
online
page,
edition, just,
yeah.
Well,
yeah, real proud of them. That's good for Starkville.
yeah, good for them. It was a really great article. Yeah.
Isn't that company valued at over like $6 million now?
$20 million.
No, really nice. That whole Sesame Street thing was just really serendipity, so it's great. Okay, citizens' comments. I'm hopeful we will certainly see Mr. Turner, and he'll be well. Public appearances, we have 2. Mr. Rayfield Evans has some water issues in his yard, which Edward and I have been out to visit him. Is Edward in here? There he is. Have been out to visit him. Have you tried to schedule another one where we can actually meet with him?
Try to go Monday.
Okay, all right. He was not home when we went out there to take a look and see what the issue is. According to Mr. Evans, he hasn't had any problem except till C-Spire came in and put in their box. And so we're still trying to figure out how that has impacted it and what created it. So
Where does he live?
he lives in Rolling Hills on Pontotoc Street. And so anyway, we will see if we can get with him on Monday so that we'll have some better answers for Tuesday, assuming he decides to continue to come visit with us. Ms. Yolanda Haddix has said that she may not need 10 minutes, so she may just come during citizens' comments, but I haven't heard anything other than that. She just wants to highlight and let us know what all the Juneteenth events are, which they have a fairly broad schedule. I think it starts Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and actually something on Monday evening, because that Monday is a holiday, I believe. So anyway, we'll see, but she wanted to come highlight those, so that's what that's about. This is our first public hearing on the extending the Leisure and Recreation District to include Atkerson Way and College View and the College View development. We had called for that public hearing, so this is the first one for that.
I fielded a couple questions the other day at Stagger Inn about this, and I should have called you already. If you haven't been there, there's like an outdoor concert area, outdoor venue.
Yes.
What all does this encompass? on the concert side, will this allow people just to walk around with cups? Will it be a bottle? Does it have to be glass, or non-glass, or like,
It's a go cup area. It's like the rest of the city.
no bottles?
No, although if they're on their property, which would be from the street going north, then they can do whatever they want to do. Relatively speaking, I understand,
Yeah,
but
and
yeah.
our ordinance controls the street and other public places, and that would be a no-go.
Yeah. But the College View project development itself has its own, it's their boundary. So, and they actually have an event this weekend. They've got one on Saturday evening, I believe it is. Down in the district, it's kind of they got it set up for the ball game, to watch the ball game, outdoor screen and that sort of thing, so.
I guess the question I was fielded was more from a security standpoint. Would, College View be enforcing a no bottle policy? Typically go to concerts, you don't have glass bottles, you have go cups and cans, but would the city police officers be? But I guess you're saying if it's on College View,
That would be
enforced by
MSU police
security-
territory.
MSU?
Yeah,
Okay.
that is considered campus property. So it would be the MSU police. And I think the chief, well, he was here. Okay, the chief and Chief Rice have been in contact with one another to determine how all of that works out. So they,
Just the rap concert you like, or?
oh, that was down at the horse park. Yeah, but no, that was down at the horse park. But I was just talking about this particular event. They've been in contact. So, okay, and that is a public hearing, so that's no action at this point in time. It'll come forward at the next board meeting for second public hearing and then consideration. Then under mayor's business, this is the first public hearing to amend the Code of Ordinances for the parking municipal stopping, standing, and parking is the title of that.
Just call
of
it,
that.
Mayor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's consideration of calling. Did I misspeak? I'm sorry. It is just consideration of calling for the first public hearing.
I haven't gone through my package yet, so what is this about? I mean, I didn't get it last night, and I couldn't to read. But
Essentially, we've got some contradictory language or some conflicting language, and we've also got language that is fairly old. I think the last time this was amended was 1996 or something. And so what we're trying to do is clear up how we want to handle parking around the city. This also allows the board to determine if it wants to make a change to the hours, for example. You don't have to do it by going through an ordinance process. It's however the board might amend it using a board order. So we wouldn't amend the ordinance by going to, let's say we wanted to do the 4 hours that the Main Street had come forward to ask us about, which is sort of what precipitated the discussion. So you could do that by a board order. Chris, stop me when I go wrong, if I do.
So far, so good.
So far, so good, yay. And then it also incorporates the Park Mobile piece, which was not contemplated, obviously, back in 1996. So it contemplates that as a part of the incorporation of what the ordinance has authority to allow. Anything else that needs to be highlighted about that, Chris, or is that
No, that's a good summary.
reasonably covered? Okay.
Yeah. The only thing with the fine schedule, it would allow the board to update the fine schedule.
Yes.
And not have to have the fines in the ordinance.
Yes.
So you'd have to amend the ordinance if you wanted to ever amend the
Yeah,
fine.
and right now, we have an existing board order that set the fines, but that codifies it in here, so that also clears that up.
And this is just the calling for the public hearing.
Yes.
So consent? Put it on consent?
We good with consent for that? For just the public, calling for the public hearing? Okay, all righty. And then this next one, this is one of those things that was just kind of bizarre. I received an email. It looked like something that were required to do, and I forwarded it to Lisa, and she looked at it and didn't read it the same way I did, so I sent it back to her when I got a second email that said, y'all really got to do this. And so we started looking at it, and yes, it's actually a requirement. It is a statutory requirement that we collect an additional $1 for documents and record management. So this is basically us following what is state law.
Per
So,
page or per document?
per document. So,
Consent.
Chris, is that, as you read it, yeah, okay, all right, consent for that one, guys? Okay, thank you. Under airport, we've got authorization for Clearwater to go forward with the AIP project, which is the taxiway extension and the improvements. Is no, he's not here. This is going to be associated with the grants that we've been getting, so consent for that one, okay. Community development, Daniel, there you are. We have the final plat request for Stark Crossing Phase 4A. Anything about that one that we need to know about?
It's just a lot aggregation. That's the one that they're proposing the medical clinic on, so you just need to combine the two lots to proceed.
Okay, nothing controversial about it? Okay,
This is where the kidney care center is.
Gastroenterology.
Yeah, and they're gonna combine that with the kidney
No, they're next to it, they're not part of that, I don't believe, or they haven't said it. This is a standalone, separate thing, they're gonna occupy both of those lots.
Okay, all right.
So, no controversy there, consent for that one? Okay. The next two are, the Historic Preservation Commission met, and they approved both of these certificates of appropriateness. I think they're both from Gary Schaefer, is that not correct?
I don't know about the first one, I know the second one is.
Okay.
The second one, 2202, was actually approved back in 2014.
Oh, okay.
But it expired after work stopped for 6 months, so
Okay.
it's just a reapproval now.
Okay.
And then the first one was, something.
Okay, but they were all unanimously approved by the, okay, so consent for those? Okay, thank you. All right, we have claims docket, which we can pass over. We have HR, which is hirings, is Mr., just sneaking in the room, aren't you? Okay. Hiring Brandon Gladney as a certified police officer. Consent for that one?
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. DeMonte Horsley for maintenance worker and sanitation and environmental services. Consent? James Yarborough for sanitation environmental services. Will that keep you fully, or bring you to full complement, Chris?
Still mine's two drivers, because James is actually promoting up.
Okay, so you're still looking for 2 drivers?
His driver position will come over, we still vacant one driver.
Okay, all right. Consent for that one? Okay. Authorization to hire Deputy Court Clerk Alexis Robinson. Consent for that one? And let's see, Ms. Rhodes as a customer service rep. Consent, that's just fulfilling or an empty position? Okay, all right. And hired, okay, Denaje, okay, Robinson, maintenance worker for utilities. Consent on that one. And here we have Mr. Kemp. Mr. Kemp is remaining interested in the general manager position. And at this point in time, he has agreed to take the proposal that was presented.
How much was it proposed?
It was 137.
It being an executive session, it's not job performance, it's stuff, it may be in a work session, can we call for closed session,
No.
executive session and have that, or we just need to have that discussion now?
So this is a meeting of a quorum of the aldermen, so you could take this into executive session if you wanted to. Or you could talk about it in open session. You're not going to know either way.
I'm fine either way if y'all think we need, I mean, I know Mr. Kemp's in the room, if y'all want to go into executive session. I had a couple questions lingering, and so,
And we don't have to address it today. We can
We
just
can
leave it
wait.
open on the agenda and do it Tuesday
well,
night.
I'm okay with addressing it today.
Well, we're not going to act today, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
no, we're-
This is just
Well,
putting it on
y'all
consent
told
or
me some
not.
things on maybe possible other applicants and stuff like that, and I don't know if we need to address all that. I'm fine. I'd rather settle it today,
Okay.
so I could just make a motion for,
Determination to go into closed session to determine
Yes.
whether executive session is appropriate.
yes.
Okay, I have a motion to go into a closed session to determine if an executive session is necessary. Do I have a second? Do I have a second? All right, I have no second. Failed.
Law doesn't require a second to go into closed session.
Oh, does it not? I'm sorry. Okay, never mind.
We normally call one, but it doesn't
Okay,
require.
all right. Well, then next time, let's remember not to call them. I get into a habit pattern. Okay, all right, so we'll go into closed session to determine the need for executive session. So if everyone would excuse us, Matt, if you would close us out of Facebook for a moment, or 2 or 3. Next item to take up is item number 7. Somebody's comfortable with consent for that? Okay, consent it is. All right, under parks, we have consideration to execute a contract with the pyro shows. Chris, you've looked at that?
Yeah, and that's not ready, Mayor, though. We're waiting on a clean draft. We may get it before Tuesday, but as it stands right now, it's not ready.
Leave it off.
Okay, well, let's leave it off, and hopefully we'll get one before Tuesday rolls around. Accept the lowest quotes for Cornerstone equipment. Any issue with that? Consent for that one. Accepting the sole source bid for the installation of the Musco lighting system, and this is for the Sportsplex. And the goal here is for us to, Brandon didn't come back in, is to reduce the utility costs so that by the time it's all said and done, this will significantly offset the cost of putting this in. So
Will
it's
this give them the
remote
programming?
Yes,
That's
yes,
what
it's the remote control. Consent for that? And then an MOU. Chris, have you heard any more about the recycling club?
I have not, but I'll just tell the board real quick what it is. So it's Starkville Cycling Club and Tri-County Mountain Biking Association presented an MOU for the city to build some bicycle trails and maintain some bicycle trails. The city's retaining sole discretion about A, whether to do it, or B, where they go and how it's done. But this is just the first step in moving the ball forward
Yeah.
on that.
And Alderman Vaughn, this is in that area, that's that wooded area that's off of Mosley and just to the east of J.L. King that we had talked about before them doing it. So it's a great temporary use if even, if we move into that other phase of J.L. King, this is a great temporary use between now and then, so.
About the liability.
Well, that's part of the MOU.
So they're indemnifying us, they're releasing us, and they're providing the insurance that we call for. So those 3 provisions are in the contract.
Okay. Consent for that one?
Consent.
Okay. Police, we've got the use of the Wireless Communications Fund, which is great. We struggle to get that released from the state for portable
Every
radios.
time.
Consent
Yes,
on that one?
yes.
And then we've got the declaration of surplus property and soldongovdeals.com. Consent for that one? Utilities, an award for electric division right-of-way clearing service. This is the typical contract with S&S, and they were the low bidder. Consent for that one? And then the low quote from Columbus Fence Company to install a fence around the South Montgomery water treatment. Okay, and then a couple of more small ones, 5-year rental of a Konica copier, state contract, typical thing. And Chris, that's
Yes, ma'am.
good. And then lowest quote from Fluid Process and Pumps to purchase an impeller for the Fairmate pump. Consent? All right. That being said, that takes care of our agenda all the way through for Tuesday. And unless there's other discussion or questions, we're good to go. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.